All right, let's jump right in.
Okay.
Today's deep dive is all about blockchain.
All right.
You know this source you sent?
Yeah.
It promises to explain blockchain to, like, anyone. Even if you're not, like, a tech person at all.
Right.
But don't worry, we're not going to, like, dumb it down or anything.
No.
I think we can unpack some of the, like, big ideas.
Yeah.
Make this whole blockchain thing really click.
You know, it's interesting.
Yeah.
The source starts right off the bat
Okay.
with that immutable ledger thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Like, what does that even mean, right?
Right.
But they break it down
Yeah.
why it's such a game changer.
So basically, imagine, like, a giant spreadsheet
Okay.
shared with, like, everyone,
Everyone's got it.
and it tracks every single transaction.
Yeah.
And once something is on there, it's set.
Yeah.
Like, no going back, no sneaky edits.
It's permanent.
Boom, done.
And that's where it gets really cool.
Okay.
Because everyone has a copy. You can't just like,
Mess with it
yeah.
in your own little version.
Like if you tried to change something, everyone else would know.
Everyone would see it.
It's like trying to rewrite history.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
You just can't do it.
So right away,
Yeah.
you see that trust thing everyone talks about with blockchain.
Huge.
We don't need, like, a bank
Or a government.
or anyone
Huh?
to be the middleman.
Nope.
Because the technology itself is saying, look, this is legit.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's almost like blockchain replaces needing to trust someone
Yeah,
with being able to actually see the proof.
with proof.
Yeah. And then you get all these other benefits too.
Oh, yeah.
The source talks about like reliability, transparency,
Transparency. And of course,
the security. Everyone's always talking about that.
it's like a domino effect.
Yeah.
One thing leads to the next.
Exactly.
So for example, reliability. Because the data is, like, spread out over all these computers.
Yeah, all those nodes.
Even if one of them crashes, it's fine.
The information's still safe.
Still safe.
That's awesome.
And then transparency.
Right.
Every single transaction, it's out in the open.
For anyone to see.
You can't hide anything.
You know, I always wondered about that.
Yeah.
If that level of transparency would really work.
Like in the real world.
Yeah.
But the source has some really good examples.
Oh, yeah.
Like Walmart using blockchain to track their produce.
Farm to table.
Like all the way.
Incredible.
If there's like a contamination scare,
Oh, yeah.
boom.
You know exactly where it came from.
They can pull only the bad stuff.
So efficient.
No more throwing away tons of food.
It's not just food safety either.
Okay.
Think about ethical sourcing,
Okay.
fair trade,
Right.
even like fake products.
Okay.
Transparency can change entire industries.
Seriously.
Huge impact.
And then can't forget about security.
Oh, of course.
The source does a good job of explaining how blockchain's, like, decentralized.
And all that cryptography
Yeah, that-
make it super hard to hack.
Practically impossible.
It's like, imagine trying to hack into a system
Right.
where the password changes every second
Whoa.
and millions of people have a copy.
You'd never be able to.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing.
That's the level of security we're talking about.
So we've got reliability, transparency, security, but we can't leave out decentralization.
Oh, right.
That's the part that gets people really fired up.
It's a big one.
This idea that we can move away from these big centralized systems.
Yeah, like the banks.
Yeah, and actually empower individuals.
Right. Give people more control.
And the source really digs into that.
It does.
Like how decentralization is already happening in the financial world.
Especially with DeFi.
Yeah, those platforms,
You've probably heard of them.
you can lend and borrow money.
Directly from other people.
Cut out the banks completely.
And because it's all on the blockchain, everything is transparent, verifiable.
No more shady stuff.
Right, like hidden fees or any of that.
It's all out in the open.
And think about cross-border payments.
Okay.
Imagine sending money instantly anywhere in the world
Oh, wow.
with almost no fees.
That would change everything.
Especially for people in developing countries who
Dude.
rely on those remittances.
It could be so much easier.
So much more efficient.
It's amazing.
But you know,
Yeah.
what really caught my eye in the source
Okay.
was how blockchain's being used
Uh-huh.
beyond just finance.
Oh, okay.
We're talking supply chains,
Interesting.
healthcare,
Oh, wow.
areas where trust and transparency are essential.
You know, I never would have thought of blockchain for, like, tracking diamonds.
Really?
But the source talks about how De Beers,
Oh, wow.
they're using it to make sure their diamonds are real.
To verify them?
Yeah, and also ethically sourced.
So it's not just about preventing fraud.
It's about ethical sourcing, too.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And think about healthcare. But right now,
Right.
our medical records are everywhere.
Different doctors, hospitals.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It's hard to get a complete picture.
Of your own health history.
And don't even get me started on
The
the
security
risks. Data breaches happen all the time.
It's scary.
But with blockchain,
Okay.
we could have a secure system
Uh-huh.
where we control our own data.
Like, we own it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we decide who sees it.
That's a big shift.
It is.
And think about all the wasted time
Oh, I know.
filling out the same forms over and over.
At every doctor's office, blockchain could streamline all of that.
That would be amazing.
The source even talks about how it could be used for things like vaccine tracking,
Okay.
making sure clinical trials are accurate,
Wow. So we've seen how blockchain can,
revolutionize finance, supply chains, healthcare.
it's pretty impressive.
Are you seeing a theme here?
I think so.
Any industry
Yeah.
that relies on trust, transparency, security, blockchain could be the answer.
It could really shake things up.
It's pretty exciting.
It is.
But before we get too carried away,
Right?
we should probably talk about the tech itself.
Yeah. The nitty gritty.
Yeah, because the source does a good job
Oh, yeah.
of explaining the key concepts.
Breaking it down.
It's easy to get caught
In
up.
the hype.
Yeah.
But it's important to understand
the tag.
how it actually works.
Exactly.
And honestly, I learned a few things from this source.
Oh, wow.
For example,
Yeah.
it goes into the different types of consensus mechanisms.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How transactions get validated and added to the blockchain.
Yeah, like proof of work,
Right.
which is what Bitcoin uses,
And then there's proof of stake.
which is becoming more popular.
Exactly.
It's not just like, here's what they are.
Right.
The source actually explains,
The pros and cons.
yeah, like the good and the bad.
So, for example, proof of work.
Okay.
It uses a lot of energy,
Oh, yeah, that's a big criticism.
but it's also very secure,
And then proof of stake.
more energy efficient.
Okay.
But some people worry it could lead to centralization.
Which is kind of ironic
Yeah.
because blockchain is supposed to be decentralized.
Right.
It's a tricky issue.
It is.
And the source lays it all out there.
In a balanced way.
It made me think twice about some of my own assumptions.
That's what I love about these deep dives.
Me too.
They make you think critically.
Yeah.
Challenge your own understanding.
Definitely.
The source also talks about the different types of blockchains.
Oh, right. I remember that.
Public-private consortium.
I was confused about that at first.
It can be a bit confusing.
Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Not all blockchains are open to everyone.
Well, it turns out
Yeah.
there are different flavors, each with its own trade-offs.
Got it.
So public blockchains,
Like Bitcoin.
anyone can join
Okay.
the blockchains.
Yeah.
One organization controls it.
Yeah.
And consortium blockchains, a group of organizations run it.
So it's like
Yeah.
a company might use a private blockchain
Yeah.
to manage their own stuff.
Internally,
And a group of
we
banks
could use the consortium blockchain.
for faster payments.
Exactly.
Each type has its own,
Yeah.
implications.
For security, scalability, governance.
Right.
It's not one size fits all.
It's a whole ecosystem.
It really is.
Way more complex than I thought.
I think that's a key takeaway from this source.
Yeah.
It doesn't shy away from the technical stuff
But it explains it in a way that makes sense.
in a way that's relevant to our lives.
And that's what our listeners want.
They want to understand this stuff.
Not just be bombarded with jargon.
Right. Yeah.
So the source ends with this really interesting question that's been stuck in my head ever since I read it.
I know, right?
Okay, ready for it.
Hit me.
Given blockchain's ability to disrupt so many industries,
Like we've been talking about.
what might the world look like in 10 years
Whoa.
if it becomes truly mainstream?
That's a big question.
It's hard to even imagine.
Yeah, but it's so exciting to think about.
Like, what if we could trace every product we buy
Back to its origin.
and we had total control over our data
And could share it securely with whoever we want.
and financial transactions were instant
And borderless.
and we had new forms of governance?
That actually empower people.
It's mind-blowing.
It is.
But of course,
Yeah.
we have to be realistic,
There are potential downsides, too,
like the environmental impact
of some of those consensus mechanisms.
and the possibility of bad actors using it for bad things.
Right, we can't ignore that.
I think the key is
Yeah.
to approach blockchain with a critical but optimistic mindset
To understand both its limitations
and its potential.
to create a better world.
A more transparent world,
A more equitable.
a more efficient world.
It's a powerful tool
And it's up to us.
to decide how we use it.
That's a great way to put it.
Thanks.
This has been an awesome discussion.
It really has.
It's amazing how much we've learned.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
And I think we've done a good job
I hope so.
of making blockchain understandable
And engaging.
for our listeners.
That's the goal.
That's what the deep dive is all about.
Absolutely.
Making these complex topics and making them accessible
So everyone can understand them.
so they can navigate this crazy world.
It's changing so fast.
It is.
It's hard to keep up.
Blockchain is just one example
Of the amazing technologies emerging.
that are shaping our future.
It's an exciting time to be alive.
It really is.
Even with all the challenges, there's so much potential.
For good.
I agree.
So to our listeners,
Yeah.
keep exploring.
Keep on.
Keep asking questions.
Stay curious.
Because the future is being built right now.
And we can all be a part of it.
And who knows? Maybe in our next deep dive, we'll be talking about the incredible things that you created.
I would love that.
Me too.
That's the dream.
It is.
To see people using this technology.
To make a positive impact on the world.
That's what it's all about.
Well, thanks for joining us
Of course.
on this journey into the world of blockchain.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep on learning,